I think that means it's starting like now. Because I
Yeah.
keep like for on the contrary, I started my spiel early and it's like I noticed half of it made the recording. Hello everybody, welcome to the
Cool.
Awesemo.com live before lock show. We're taking you through the day's NFL games. I think we have 10, but I didn't look it up in advance because it's 9 a.m. on the West Coast and we're scrambling. I'm Chris Fags, joined by a good pal. The one time a week we get to hang out on camera, Josh Engelman. How you doing, Josh?
I'm on my second beer already today. It's 12:07. The first one went up before I started the game plan, so I'm great, man. Happy belated Thanksgiving, I guess.
Yeah, that's what people do. They wish people a belated Thanksgiving. It's like I'm glad Josh cooked for his Thanksgiving.
Did.
If you want to give him a rundown of all the courses you cook, because that's what people tune into this show for.
I did. I fried a turkey. I did some scratch mashed potatoes, very heavy on the cream and butter, scrumptious shit. I made a sausage and sage stuffing. I made some scratch gravy. What else did I do? The wife made a carrot cake. I made a lot of shit.
It's pretty impressive. Yeah, so Josh, not as incompetent as he seems in other parts of life.
Yeah, I'm not just a DFS quote unquote expert. I'm a food quote unquote expert as well.
Yeah, I was impressed when you said that you were good. I mean, I guess that shouldn't have impressed me. We're like somebody saying they're good at something, but it seems like you had people to prove that. So I'm glad.
My dad always liked to cook, but didn't cook all that much. Like my mom just did it because he was always working, but he liked to cook, and I think that I saw him liking to cook, and I probably liked it because of that. So I've cooked forever. I used to make like big trays of enchiladas and shit while I was in college.
Oh, interesting. All right. Well, they're learning more about you by the day.
Yeah.
Even after a year doing this, that's what's fun about relationships. You just learn more about the person you've loved from afar.
Hell yeah.
And let's talk football, though.
Let's do it.
Actually, no. Let's talk our presenting sponsor, Thrive Fantasy.
What up, Thrive?
Thrive. We're thriving with Thrive. Thrive is a daily fantasy sports app which uses prop bets to help differentiate yourself from the field. It's a different approach to things, but a little easier for people we find who've done our various products and just been a part of our ecosystem for a while. It's a savvier game. It's pretty easy to get ahead of the field if you're a savvy guy or gal. So go to bit.ly/ThriveLBL. I'll drop the link into the premium chat. No, I'll drop it into the chat. Not the
Everybody
chat.
gets the link.
Okay. There's the link. If you download the app now, a $10 deposit will get you $10. A $50 deposit, no, a $100 deposit will get you $20, and a $200 deposit will get you $50. And it's not one of those slow release ones like a lot of the other fantasy apps. It is one that you get right away. So go check that out now. Click the link bit.ly/ThriveLBL. There's some capital letters in there which you have to have. So just click the link in YouTube. But let's talk about their first prop bet real fast. A guy who's really under-owned on the slate, and I talked about yesterday on the contrary with Osmo and Evan Silva. Tom Brady, they have an over-under for him of 285.5 yards passing. He's really under-owned on the slate. I think now that he's going to be playing for sure, he's questionable as if Tom Brady wasn't going to play. But what do you think about his over-under for passing there with 285.5 yards?
Yeah, I was looking at that earlier, actually. I was surprised that the under was only slightly shaded. I assume that the over would be way more popular for everyone looking at that. If there were like ownership projections, I feel like I'd be way more likely to play the under, but on the surface, I feel like Brady blows 285.5 out of the water.
Yeah, I think this matchup, I think there were some concerns about the blitz rate of the Jets and how Brady's handled blitzes here. His QB rating is pretty awful, one of the worst in the league versus the blitz. But to me, I think he's still going to be able to get enough done here. I think they're either going to dink and dunk it with Edelman or James White. I think there'll be some running taken off the table by Tony Michel that'll eat into his yards a little bit, but I would find it hard to believe he doesn't get above 285.5. We're talking 300. I think we're getting close, but 285.5, I'd go over to.
Cool.
So there we go. Thrive Fantasy. Go check it out. Check the link. It'll be dropped in the chat again one more time. But get those deposit bonuses right now. Again, if you're a beginning DFS player, this is the best way to build your bankroll, is taking advantage of these deals that companies offer just to get new customers. And this is one that we are lucky enough to be able to provide you. So go check that out. What else are you observing in your crunches so far?
Oh, God. It's a weird one today. I'm having trouble managing chalk.
Mm-hmm.
So I've decided to take a couple stands. I'm very light on Nick Mullins. I'm lighter than we're expecting on Jameis. I'm probably heavier on Lamar Jackson right now than I want to be, but everything is naked Lamar Jackson, so I'm not super concerned with it. I'm getting way more Andy Dalton than the public is showing, and that's one of the things that I'm a little bit more confident in. I don't have a lot of faith in the Browns, so Team Ginger today.
That was actually Alex's contrarian QB pick of the week, and I definitely jammed some more Dalton in there. The thing for me, and this is something we talked about on the show yesterday, was that like there's a bit of an eye test thing versus a numbers thing, and on paper this seems like a great matchup. Dalton really hasn't looked that bad. Last week he did look a little better too with the eye test, but there's some real weaknesses in that offense and that offensive line, and Dalton just how he's been dealing with pressure since AJ Green went out. So it does worry me a little bit. And you mentioned Nick Mullins too. He's not chalk, by the way, at least on DraftKings, 0.1%. So he is just like Mama used to make a find a Nick Mullins.
He is the second most owned quarterback on FanDuel.
Really?
Yeah.
What a world.
He's flat minimum for a quarterback. He's he's $6K for a quarterback today, which is appealing, but like if everybody's on it too, then it just creates this weird vibe where if the chalk high-priced guys go off, it'll be really crazy. But if they don't, then having an expensive quarterback with the right low-ish priced guys will be the way that you want to go. If you're playing Nick Mullins, by default, you are getting a ton of like, Odell or Antonio Brown or Saquon. Like you just have to spend that money somewhere. And if you're doing that and those guys bust, like scores will be super low. So I'm just trying to go the opposite direction and paying a little bit more for guys that wouldn't likely be touched by a Nick Mullins quarterback stack.
Yeah, so I mean, there's some real risk with Nick Mullins and Evan Silva. I don't mean to keep referencing it, but ththese are all the people I talk to.
Well, no, you should reference it. It's it's a huge show with yourself, Evan Silva, and Alex breaking down a full NFL slate. It's like our flagship NFL product.
Okay, so thanks for giving me that pass, Josh. I feel like a dick where I'm like, "By the way, you see my side piece, Josh."
No. I mean, that's like it's the most viewed piece of content we have for the NFL. If we weren't referencing it, it would be weird, wouldn't it?
Yes, I agree. That's fair. Okay, so yeah, so watch that show in general every week. It's on usually at Saturdays at 1:30 p.m. Eastern, which is a weird time, but catch it at some point before the slate locks on Sunday.
I mean, watch it for Alex and Evan.
Yes. Yeah. Not for me. Not for the. I think I'm pretty great. But no, Evan
You're
said
definitely one of the three best people on that show.
I easily top. Yeah, definitely in the top 99 percentile of that. So for me, I think the thing that they said that stuck out with me is that Nick Mullins could easily get benched. CJ Beathard is healthy enough to play again. And if Mullins does falter at all, they actually have more invested in Beathard than they do in Mullins. Mullins is I think a UDFA or maybe a 5th rounder or something. Whereas Beathard was a 3rd rounder. So that's sort of the way the NFL hierarchy works, is the guy who is a little more invested you want to get more of. But I like Mullins. And I think the thing with Mullins too, which surprises me that he'd be the highest owned guy on FanDuel, because he's been only on showdown slates. And that's the only reason I know who he is and have like studied him at the length I have, because I've done those showdown videos. Yeah. And I got kind of burned by him the first time, but not really. I burned by him in a video perspective, but I actually did play him because I watched his highlights after and was like, ooh, this guy actually might be kind of good. Second game wasn't as good versus the Raiders, but he was fine. And I think he also just is a vessel for that offense and getting guys the ball in position so they can run after the catch. Like that's mostly what Kittle's done. Kittle's had 50 air yards since Mullins took over, but like 200 receiving yards because he's just been running up and down the field. So I like Mullins. I probably have too much of him, but I'm surprised that people are on him that much because he's sort of an unknown quantity on a main slate.
Yeah, look, it's all a price thing. People will react, rightly so, I guess. I mean, he comes up a lot in my crunches if I just let it go and don't make any adjustments for ownership. So I understand why he is someone that pops up. I just simply don't think it's that great of a play.
No, I think that's a fair so I just believe in the offense there a little bit. And that is one of my faults. I believe in shitty offenses and think they're good, but I do think this matchup is one that is good enough for them where it's not going to impede them anyway. Breida is my favorite play on that side though. I have a ton of Matt Breida. He's also playing in front of his parents today, Josh. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, I hated playing in front of my parents. My dad just yelled at me to box out and be more aggressive all the time when I played basketball. It was really a bummer. I love my dad, but I mean, he was like the coach in the stands. Nobody likes playing in front of their parents.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, I think if you're a professional player who might rush for 200 yards, I think that maybe is a little more appealing.
Yeah, I think once you get paid like large amounts of money for it, you're probably not super worried about your parents being in the game. You can fly them out to every game if you'd like.
That's a fair point. Well, Breed is not there yet. He didn't get that Jerick McKinnon money.
Dude, how expensive are plane tickets? I'm sure you could get his parents there for like $600 combined if you wanted to. You just make them. Maybe they might have like a layover in Chicago or something. But
Matt Breed is up at 2 a.m. on Tuesday shopping for deals on Kayak because he knows that's a prime time to buy flights.
Yeah, he's using skip lagged.
Let's see. Goro Com in the YouTube chat asking who else is Mullins going to throw it to. Kendrick Bourne to be the guy who's had the most air yards on the team. Yep. He grades out fine. I think Trent Taylor's a little interesting too. He just hasn't seen enough snaps this year, and I think he's not in the coach's favor right now. But he's been productive in the past. He had a couple monster games last year. I think he's interesting. Who are you stacking up Mullins with? Oh, and obviously Kittle. Kittle's the main guy.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we don't even have to mention Kittle. He's just kind of good no matter who the quarterback is for the Niners. So I have some Kittle. I have a decent amount of Breida, but it's mostly just Kendrick Bourne for me. I like you, greatly prefer Breida in this spot.
Yeah, I think Breida just looks like a great play. What about Bucks guys? What about Winston?
I mean, he's really hard to trust, right? He's the guy you want to play when he's not chalk.
Which
but
he is.
He's 17% expected ownership right now on FanDuel. So I'm playing some because the chances of him, I mean, he's going to heave for the entire game. So it's hard to avoid there. I have some Evans. I have some Jackson. I am completely avoiding Cameron Brate. This is the most preposterous chalk I've seen in a while. 33% expected ownership on FanDuel right now. 1 in 3 lineups are going to have Cameron Brate. He has to, 100%, bar none, has to score a touchdown for that to matter. And he's Cameron Brate. So, yeah, I'm good. I locked him in at 5%.
So I'm also not playing Brate. I think I might have one lineup with him, but that's about it out of 60 or something like that. The reason for me was the chalk reason too, but I've now heard every single product out there, both ours and ones on other sites, and like they're all like, yeah, Cameron Brate's dumb chalks, which means that the people who aren't smart in DFS are going to play him, and he's going to have a big day, and it's going to be one of those things that's very upsetting.
If he has a big day, kudos. It'll be the first big day he's ever had, right?
Sure. No, he had some decent days last year, I think.
His highest fantasy point production this season is 10.9. Even if he does that, I don't care that he's 33% owned. Last year, his biggest game was 16.9. Again, like, that's the optimal scenario for him. That was 2 catches for 39 yards and 2 TDs. Even when he was getting 9 targets a game, it was 6 for 70 and a touchdown. Like,
but
you're not even dead.
Ago,
you're not even dead if that happens.
20-point games, 3 20-point games 3 years ago.
I'd rather play a ton of Gronk.
Yeah, no, I think it's a fair take. I'm just thinking a little bit more, like for me, because we do these shows and you hear a lot of things and you do your research as a host of these, so you're prepared. I've heard so many people talk about fading Brate that I think it's a little viable to play. Like, I still wouldn't match the field, but I think playing half of the field is pretty logical to me now at this point.
I'm really anxious to see the ownership on Brate in like the high dollar contests.
Oh, apparently Trent Taylor's inactive today. Our old pal Emac just DM me that. That's interesting. Why? Like, what? Why do they hate Trent Taylor so much?
I have no idea.
What did he do? He's just shitting Kyle Shanahan's oatmeal at some point. Yeah, that rascal Trent Taylor.
Man, shitting in someone's oatmeal is really aggressive. I get the pee one. That's like okay, but like to shit in someone's oatmeal, who's not going to notice that?
Kyle Shanahan thought it was his favorite chocolate oatmeal, and instead
you would immediately know if someone shit in your oatmeal. You got to stick to pea or the white stuff. Otherwise, you can't do it.
The white stuff. Oh, Jesus. Question from Zeus Q in the premium Slack. And by the way, the premium Slack is an important feature of the premium offerings we have at awesomeman.com. A lot of smart people in there. You also get bumped up the queue for questions for all the live streams we do. But we are offering Cyber Monday / Black Friday deals all weekend long. The promo code CYBERYEAR, it works now. Apparently it wasn't working, so that's great for all the hard selling we did. But working like a charm now. For that deal, you get 12 months for the price of 10, which is $120 savings. It's the best deal we'll ever have. probably until next Black Friday.
And you
then
get to cyber with Chris.
What was that?
And they get to cyber with you. So
yes,
drop your ASL in the chat.
16M NYC, ready to go and get after it. Code Cyber Month will get you 50% off of your first month of an All Access Pass. So these are two great deals on the All Access Pass, where there are a lot of sports that we have here which don't get as much love. Jake Hari's been doing a fantastic job. Our boy Jake, who we don't get to do streams with right now, doing a fantastic job with NHL stuff. So there's a lot of ways for you to find ways to make that money back. So go sign up now. Promo code CyberYear, 12 months for the price of 10. Promo code Cyber Month, get your first month at 50% off of an All Access Pass. So go do that, please.
Do it. Do it.
Yeah. But cybering though, probably not. Like optional at most, not mandatory. All right. What good questions do we have? Anything interesting? Oh, here we go. So Zeus Q in the premium Slack asking, McCoy is 4.2 on DK. McCoy 4,200 on DK. Is he the Rat Man today? Is what he's not Damian Ratley. He is, but I am not crazy about McCoy. Evan Silva was nuts about him. I think Alex also sees the value in him. I am not on McCoy. I have like maybe a handful of lineups, if that.
Yeah, he's not as cheap on FanDuel, so he's not really someone I'm looking at. I have a cursory share of him, but it's nothing super interesting. Can't stop burping. Fucking Coors Light.
Ooh, the classiest of beers for the morning shift for you.
It was the only beers left in the house. My wife was like, "Oh, you're drinking already?" I was like, "Well, it's Coors Light, so kinda."
It is like water. That's the one you could just drink all day. That's why the white trash guys get away with that.
Yeah, if these were like two double IPAs, you can give me a dirtier look.
I'm just pounding some delirium at 9 a.m.
Right, like that gets you out of the gate in a much different way.
Oh, Makata in the YouTube chat. Come back, Jake. Do a relevant sport. Jake is on here every day doing NHL. He's great, but he doesn't get to do show with us. That's his loss.
True, it is his loss.
Somebody was like, make him do basketball. I think Jake's actually playing a little basketball now, but I don't know how he's doing with it.
Probably as well as we would do if we played hockey.
You were doing well with hockey.
I luck boxed the GPP on the first night of the season.
That's enough to carry you through for a top 100 ranking for the year, probably.
Yeah, I hope so.
All right, what else? What other chalky spots have we not talked about? The Colts. Here's one. You might have heard the Colts are going to be popular this week. Pretty much every position. They have one guy who's going to be the highest owned on the slate. What are you doing with the Colts?
I've got a decent amount of Marlon Mack. I have some Hilton, and probably more than the field of Doyle. Trying not to go too crazy on luck. I like it. Let me sort to him quickly. He's just like a little too owned for where he comes up in my rankings. I would much rather... Let me sort this by salary so that I can speak to this a little bit better. Boop. Okay. Like, I would just... We're projecting him for 14% ownership on FanDuel. I would rather just play Cam, who I see as comparable, but only at 7% ownership. So, like, I just see a little bit of additional utility there. And I think their prices are, like, super comparable. Yeah, separated by $200. So, like, I'd rather just go to Cam and save the ownership.
I get it. I think it's
I still have luck, just FYI. Let me be clear here. I just have less than the field.
Okay. So yeah, I have a good amount of luck. Luck is probably, it's either him or Mullins are my top owned guy. I didn't do the percentage breakdown of it. But I like Luck. The thing that really inspires me about Luck though, and I don't know if people caught this, but he threw a 50-yard bomb to T.Y. Hilton for I think the first time all year. And his arm looked good. And I feel like that's really been the issue for me with him, where mentally it's been a block for me. He's had good days. I've played him some weeks where he's had good days. But I think him actually being able to throw downfield, and teams maybe not being as ready for him to throw downfield because there's so much tape on him and it's a lot of dink and dunk, a lot of short stuff. But he's capable of it now. I think that really opens up Hilton in a way where he hasn't been this year. So I don't think this is bad chalk today. I get the reasons why you pivot off of it, but I think I'm more inclined to think it's good chalk than bad chalk. Yeah,
like I said, it's not that I just want to ignore Luck. I think he's a fantastic play. He grades out as the second best overall quarterback option for me. But he's also bringing the ownership with it. And I have Cam as essentially the same projection with half the ownership. So I want to make sure that I get some of that to Cam since it's lesser but I still have 5% luck, so I'm okay with it. He's
I
just
think
been on
that's a
such
fair
a
amount of
heater.
luck to have. Well, 5% luck is all you need in life.
Yeah, you're gonna need a lot more than 5% luck to like bank a milli. You catch my
That
drift.
is also true. Guess who? So I did millionaire maker lineup for DK today. Guess who my quarterback is?
Blake Bortles.
It's Nick Mullins.
Okay, you were leading me down a path where it was going to be someone that we hadn't talked about at all. So
no, it wasn't. But you know who's a guy who it should be? Is Josh McCown.
Oh God, 4,300
on DK. He's had some upside before. So what scares me off of him is Robbie Anderson is still banged up. We talked about that a little on the show yesterday, where Silva was mentioning that Robbie Anderson's got a high ankle sprain, not the best thing you want for a deep threat. He's in the lineup, and I think there's some contrarian value. I have him in like the max 20 contests I did a couple times, but I couldn't justify McCown on my one millionaire maker lineup because I think Mullins is low on enough on DK where it's fine. McCown,
yeah, I mean,
though,
like if you don't want to win $1 million, that's a great play.
McCown to Anderson is like a stack that's worked in the past at a pretty high level, and they're both very cheap. And you can run back, Edelman or Gronk or whatever of the running backs, and it's not going to be highly owned. And there's a pretty high ceiling there.
Good luck.
Look, I don't think it's one you need a lot of. I think McCown is under 1% ownership, but I'm worried it's going to be like McCown. I didn't play enough McCown, or I didn't play enough Rosen, and it's going to be the week that I didn't play any Rosen this week, to be clear. So full disclosure, it hurts me, but no Rosen this week. If he goes off this week, I swear to God, man, I'm not going to do this show next week. I'm taking a fucking week off. It's just gotten too deep in my head where I'm too off.
Not a bad idea.
Here we got some premium Slack questions from our boy Makad again on here, going on both channels. We appreciate that, Makad. You're supporting the YouTube and the Slack.
Makad double fisting chats today.
Yeah, he's chatting all over. How much Bourne do you have?
How much who?
Kendrick Bourne, Evan Bourne, Jason Bourne.
That's what I thought you said. 3% right now.
It's a reasonable amount.
Yeah. Look, when the Niners start dropping people that I think are even, like, I don't even think Goodwin's all that great. So as people start falling off, and you realize that it's Nick Mullins and a bunch of other cast-offs, it's hard to get super aggressive about the rest of the Niners. I mean, I know Tampa Bay is bad in general and a nice spot for DFS, but I can't start cheering for all these guys that, I mean, like Bourne's fine. He's 4,900 on FanDuel. We're not really projecting all that much ownership. What are you going to do? I'll be with the field. It's fine. I don't really care. I'm sure Dante Pettis will score a touchdown in the first 5 seconds or something stupid. This game is disgustingly ugly.
But a lot of yards given up by the Bucs, and that defense has not gotten any better. So I think that's sort of what you're banking on. And also the Vegas total. Because like that's been the thing that I feel like I've done wrong. And it's something that Osmo and his team was preached to us since we came on board, is that the Vegas total is really the thing to look at. And like even if a matchup looks good, like some of the Cardinals-Raiders matchups I think look pretty good, but the Vegas totals weren't there, and they kind of didn't put up as many fantasy points anyway. This one is high. This is above 50 points, and that's noteworthy to me.
Yeah. I'm just nervous about it. Like, is it as appealing if everybody is on it?
Probably not. But if on FanDuel, it seems like there's a pretty big difference though between FanDuel and DK in terms of the ownership, at least on the Niners side.
Goro in chat saying Pettis is out. I just meant it as like someone else is going to score a touchdown. I don't really care about anything else in San Francisco. I'm generally trying to avoid it.
How much Bourne you guys am I limiting upside too much in a GPP with Mack, Hilton, and Luck? So Alex advocates to have, if you are stacking a game up, that you can have the QB stack and with the running back, and that could actually be beneficial. So I don't think so, but what do you think, Josh?
It's not something I would do because I don't think Mack catches enough balls. If he were a guy that got a couple more targets in the passing game, I might have a little bit more interest. That's usually, I don't mind having the running back with the quarterback as much as if you have the opportunity to get that correlated touchdown. But like if Matt goes off and it's because he's running the ball, you're gonna have a hard time getting Luck and Hilton as well.
Who the hell's playing wide receiver for the Niners then? If Taylor and Pettis are out,
I don't even know if Pettis is really out.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that was just one guy saying it. Yeah, Fantasy Lab says Pettis starting, not out. So weird that Goro Com is not like the perfect news source.
He is not the boss of football news like Goro is the boss of Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I wasn't much of a Mortal Kombat. Well, I guess I was. I just don't remember it anymore.
You don't remember Goro? Fucking 8 arms.
I can't remember which one was. Who was the other, like the old looking dude?
Shang Tsung.
Yeah, that's the guy I remember more.
He would steal souls. I know all my Mortal Kombat lore. Don't question.
How much Mortal Kombat are you still playing? Oh, by the way, it's 12:32.
Oh yeah, we gotta do our pick. So okay, so I'm now down just one because David Johnson got there last week and Larry Fitzgerald did not.
No, he didn't.
So it is 5-4 on the year in our 100-yard picks. I'm going Matt Breida. I'll just do it up front.
Whoa. Okay, cool. I feel real comfortable about that then.
Did you hear his parents are going to be there, Josh?
I did, and I have more Matt Breida than just about any other running back on the slate.
Oh, okay, good. So go Matt Breida, go Matt Breida's parents. Go Team Breida.
Yeah, I'll comfortably cheer against myself. Give me Juju.
That's a rant. Why Juju?
I don't know. I've got a ton of Juju. Fuck that Denver defense. I don't give a shit.
Wow. All right. So Juju and Matt Breida are 100-yard picks for the week. These have been bankable half the time. So take them to the half bank.
Yeah. Take one of them to the bank.
Yeah. It's your job to choose which one.
Yeah. It's like a choose your own adventure book. But most of the time the adventure, you die.
Amendola or DJ Moore, same price on DK.
I'm getting so much Amendola and I hate it. And all I hear in my mind's eye or inner monologue or whatever is just Evan Silva talking heavy shit about the Dolphins.
Yeah. I mean, he was really worried about Tannehill's health. Really, it didn't make sense why he was playing to him. And he talked to Evan Silva has a doctor he talks to about it. Yeah. I don't know if it's on a podcast or he just calls him up what's up with this injury? But apparently the shoulder thing for Tannehill was a concern for Dr. Chow, who is Silva's doctor guy, which is funny to say. But, I think it worries me. What worries me a little bit more, too, is just there was a lack of chemistry completely between Tannehill and Amendola in the beginning of the year. And he's always been a Stills guy. So I do have some Stills, not much Amendola.
What are you doing with Gus Edwards?
I didn't play a ton of him because I usually make my lineups the night before and then kind of tweak them as we go. And I saw the news today, but I feel like people are going to pivot to him too heavy. So I think I have enough where I'm close enough to the field where I'm all right with it. But are you going heavy on him?
No, I'm not.
Any reason why?
He's just not coming up for me. And now he's, projected to be 18% owned, which, look, I understand why. He's 5,300 on FanDuel. There's not a ton around him, but you can make a case that you would rather have Jalen Richard than Gus Edwards, I think.
I'm all over the Ravens D, so I have no Jalen Richard this week.
Yeah, neither do I. Neither does the public. But if one is 18% owned and one is 1% owned, I can get there, I think.
I think that makes sense. I like Gus Edwards. He looked really good last week, and that's an eye test thing, whatever. But the numbers too check out. The vibe with how they use them with Lamar Jackson checks out. So I don't mind Gus Edwards. If he gets too chalky, though, what's the ownership update for DK? Do we have one?
It should be there. They just came out fairly recently.
Okay. Let's see. So Gus, I don't know what Gus is at on DK.
Only a C value on FanDuel in Alex's ranking. So that's also giving me a little bit of pause. Why doesn't Alex see it? So.
Yeah. Oh, Gus at just under 14% on DK. So there you go. There's your free Gus Edwards ownership update.
Yeah, that's all that mattered.
That's what people are tuning in for. Just what's Gus Edwards doing? I wonder.
Exactly.
I like Josh Adams more than I like Gus Edwards for cheaper.
12% expected ownership on it, I guess. I mean,
he's chalky too, though. Yeah,
he's just as appealing, in my opinion. Which is to say that not that appealing to me at all.
Yeah, I think that game is going to break well for the Eagles, and I don't know that it's going to be a ton of scoring for them, but I do think Adams is going to get a good shot here. I mean, he had a good game last week versus the Saints, and they got steamrolled. So I think in a matchup which should be competitive, I think that's a pretty nice spot for Josh Adams to kind of plant his flag. So I don't know. I don't mind Josh Adams, and I think I would play him over Edwards personally, just for the discount.
It might just be my mental block of not liking to cheer for anybody on the Eagles.
Tough but fair. I was heavy on the Eagles last week, and tell you what, that did not pay off.
Certainly didn't. I was doing some like Fantasy Cruncher rewind this morning on last week, and I wasn't really paying that much attention when I first started doing it. And I was like, oh, cool, like 25% Carson Wentz. Let's take a look at this, see how these lineups shake out. Oh, cool, actual points, 4 or something fucking awful. And I was like, this is not going to be that great of an exercise because 25% of these lineups are going to eat dick.
The important thing is you tried.
Yeah, well, I don't. Maybe it's probably not that important to Philly fans. Probably more likely to kill
them. Somebody had a good question here. Oh,
free Nick Foles.
Slack. What was that?
Free Nick Foles.
Oh yeah, that's. You know what, Wentz? I still think Wentz is good. He's been better this year than he was last year in some respects, but there's something wrong with that team in general, and it might just be the Super Bowl hangover or whatever. They're not the underdogs anymore, but I don't know.
It could just be that maybe they shouldn't have actually won that Super Bowl and got lucky. Could that be it? Would we have as big of a problem if they didn't win the Super Bowl last year? Because they probably should have just lost, considering their quarterback was Nick Foles.
Since we're talking about this game, a reminder, this show is presented by Thrive Fantasy, the game where you pick player props to get ahead of the field. Go to bit.ly/ThriveLBL to download the app, and you can get $10 on any $10 deposit, $20 free for any $100 deposit, and $50 for $200 or more. And this is free money. They basically just give it to you right away. You just got to play it, and then it's yours. So go ahead, go to that link right now. The one prop bet they have today, Odell Beckham over under 99.5 yards receiving. Odell projected to be fairly highly owned. Did he go down at all?
He's heavy chalk on FanDuel.
Okay. So yeah, so there you go. So an important guy to talk about. Would you have him going over or under 99.5 yards?
The under, only 85 points if you take Odell. It's 115 for the over. I was going to take the under because of his popularity, but if I can get that bonus on the over, give it to me. He's the chalkiest wide receiver on FanDuel. I'll take that chalk, and I'll take the 115 points.
I think I would go under here because I think the Giants are going to have a tough day. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like the Vegas total there. And I think Eli's been playing well enough. Like there are people in New York and New York media who are like, extend Eli. He's back. He had his best QB rating ever. And they're like, no, that's the time. I'm down going the other way. I think Saquon's a better play than Beckham. But I think Beckham's just going to have – I could regret this, but I would go under on Beckham.
In case anyone's curious, I went 3-2 in my my Thrive picks on Friday. Adam went a crisp 1-4. So if you would like to publicly shame him, that is at Ship My Money DFS.
I think Eddie and I have been 4-0 in our Thrive picks for NBA.
Really?
We've only done 2 days of them, but
we did Fridays, and 2 of them were off by like 1 opportunity. Blake Griffin's was like 9.5 rebounds. He got 9. Chris Paul's points were within like a point of the hook. But Adam and I disagreed on 2 of the props. The other 3 we were together on. The 2 that we disagreed on. This guy got them both right.
We've only been doing the points ones because that was the ones that our COO Tom, who you'll see on leaderboards on tournaments too, Tom JK. But he was like, do the points ones. They're the easiest ones. And so far he's been right. My projections on points have been pretty good. Been feeling strong about that.
Yeah, when we looked up Chris Paul, I was like, oh, let me see what my model has it. And it was like, Chris Paul, 19.5 points. I don't really remember the total. 19.5 points. I had him projected for like 19.2 or something. I was like, oh, cool. I could have did this myself.
That was the one I had too, I think. I think it was 18.5, and I had him at 17.9, and was like, well, I think we're just splitting hairs. We're splitting 1 free throw here. But whatever.
What do you do with Jarvis Landry? I know that sounds like a really random question, but he's a guy that pops up a ton for me, and I can't stand him.
He's not a good part of that offense. He's not been used effectively.
I mean, if we're being honest, no part of that offense is a good part of that offense, depending on how much you like getting Chubb.
I like Duke Johnson as a Chubb pivot this week.
I feel like that's the soundbite that gets played next week when we're plugging this show.
I hope so. Yeah. So like the reason to me is there's just a huge ownership discrepancy on the two. I think, the usage is definitely favoring Chubb, but you can never tell from a game plan perspective if it's going to be one where they're just going to give it up or if you could just pass it short to Duke Johnson. And, Chubb on DK, 19.4% ownership, Duke Johnson, 3%. Duke Johnson actually catches balls and runs routes. So
I get it.
why,
And someone named Chubbs just joined our premium Slack, so there's also
Oh,
that.
yay, there you go. The team Chubb all over. We got a couple premium Slack questions on here. Ertz and Ravens or Mike Evans and Jets D?
Ertz and Ravens
from,
or okay. Mike Evans and Jets D?
Yeah.
Oh, Ertz and Ravens.
Yeah. That's an actual pairing I have a lot. I get one to play Zeus. Zeus Q is a smart guy. He's saying he's playing the variants on defense and hoping that the Jets D at 2K playing at home somehow pays off. I like Evans too, but Jets D, I don't see it happening for today. And yeah. Ravens D has to, what's Ravens D got to do to have an okay day? Not much.
I mean, Oakland is super bad.
Mm-hmm. And flying east on the whole gambling thing too. Their early game, it's sort of everything at once for Oakland, where they also were feeling a little good about themselves. They pulled off a win, which wasn't even that impressive. I don't know. I'm very comfortable with the Ravens D, and I think they're going to destroy them today.
I just decided I'm going to make a pizza when this show is over. I'm so happy right now.
The important decisions to make goes well with Coors Light.
Does.
Gregory Stevens in the YouTube chat. If Amendola is out, would you just swap in Stills at the same price and call it a day?
Oh God, I mean, I don't know about call it a day.
Job well done.
I mean, I would never be. I'm not comfortable with either of those two outcomes. Yeah, does Stills get a bump if Amendola is out? Of course. I call it a day is aggressive.
I think you just need to shut up and call it a day, Josh. You need to blow that whistle and slide down the dinosaur and get into your car that you run with your feet.
Well, let's put it this way. You can do that if you have 30 seconds left before the late swap needs to go in. Do that then. And then you can be like, yeah, I just got to call it a day. But if you have time, maybe just look at it a little different.
I think you just go, hey, job well done for me. Kenny Stills, Amendola. I think Kenny Stills is a better player than Amendola this week, just because of the vibe that he and Tannehill have. I think has been strong enough for an extended period of time where I haven't seen it with Amendola. Amendola, though, on paper is a much better play because of the defense that the Colts run, where they allow you a lot of stuff underneath. So that's where the caveat is. But.
Yeah, on DK, Amendola can rack up a ton of receptions just because.
Yeah, no, you are right.
Getting the full point is so much different on DK than it is on FanDuel for only getting the half-point hook.
MJ Russell in the premium Slack asking, would you go Dalton, Big Ben, or Wilson in a GPP on DK?
I don't know any of their prices.
I mean, you could just talk about him overall.
Yeah, Dalton, Roethlisberger, and who?
And Russell Wilson.
Okay, so Russell Wilson is a guy that I don't have any of on FanDuel. I assume that he's asking because all their prices on DraftKings are relatively close to each other. It'd be weird otherwise.
I feel like Ben's is a little higher, but yeah, they're close. Dalton's 5,200, Russell's 5,600. Ben is 6,100, so they're not even that close.
Oh God. Okay. Well, Dalton is essentially unowned on FanDuel, and I have just as much of Dalton as I do of everybody else. So I would go to Dalton. I don't know why everyone's having such a huge aversion to Cleveland, or to the Cleveland D and to Dalton in particular. I guess because of AJ Green. I don't know. So yeah, give me Dalton, Roethlisberger, Wilson would be my order.
I would go Dalton. Well, actually, I don't have as much Dalton as I do Wilson, so I think I would go Wilson, Dalton, Ben. But I think it's pretty close between Wilson and Dalton. Ben, I think you're playing if you're just fading Connor, because Connor's going to be pretty highly owned. I think that's why you would go to Ben, is to try to get the pass attack. I'd go Ben and Antonio, but Josh likes Juju, so I think either of those are fine.
How are you managing Melvin Gordon?
I'm playing him. I mean, I've seen enough news that makes me feel like he's going to play, and it seems like it's more of a preventative thing. I'll be screwed. I'll just probably go straight down to Eckler, I guess, because I didn't plan my lineups like, oh, I'll put this money towards somewhere else quite as much, I think. But I like Gordon, and I think it's a perfect matchup for him, so I'm not afraid of it.
Yeah, I'm playing him as well.
The news seems to be pointing to him playing, I think.
Yeah, all signs are going that direction as of right now.
Would you go also just for Russell Wilson real fast? Excuse me. I think that the Wilson Lockett stack is pretty interesting, regardless of whether Baldwin plays or not. And I also don't mind David Moore. He's just been getting a ton of air yards, not a super exciting play. And again, air yards don't necessarily equal yards, but I think if Baldwin were out, I think that's going to mean more opportunity. And this is not a great Panthers defense, even though they've had some okay showings. Their red zone D is also one of the worst in the league. So there might be, it's hard to play Chris Carson on DraftKings because of the no pass catching, but could be some easy scores for that Seahawks team today.
The Seahawks are weird in that they're a team that I basically never have every week.
Well, the offense sucks this year. It's not what it was last year since Brian Schottenheimer came in as the OC. Like, it's just like Russell hasn't gotten over 30 fantasy points all year. And he had like 50-point games last year, I think.
He was like the leading quarterback last year, wasn't he?
Yeah. Oh, Cliff Kingsbury got fired from Texas Tech.
That was yesterday, right?
I don't know. I just got the ESPN alert.
Oh yeah, I think he got shit canned yesterday.
Maybe it wasn't official.
I think it probably got slept on a little bit once all the Dwight Howard shit came out.
Yeah, what an interesting. Well, not the show for that, but what an interesting situation there.
Yeah.
Poor Dwight. I guess not poor Dwight, but poor.
Yeah, I mean, if he's actually being a gigantic piece of shit, then not poor Dwight, but poor Dwight for like some of it.
It just seems like he's in bad spots, and I feel like once you get in bad spots, it's hard to get out of bad spots. Like, I feel like that's sort of, he was like a beloved guy at one point.
Yeah.
And now not so much. Now not Superman anymore. Bizarro Superman.
Gregory Stevens. Josh, what is that dad hat? Is this a silhouette of Drake hotline blinging? No, it's Daniel Sturridge dancing.
Is that better?
I mean, he's like a high-end Premier League striker.
But he's dancing though.
Well, that's what he does when he scores a goal. He dances.
Fair enough. I like the Drake hat better though.
I mean, Drake, so do I.
The Drake hotline bling hat would be a funny look for you. Mac and Curtis Samuel or Adams and Sanders and Cash?
Mac and Samuel or Adams and what?
And Emmanuel Sanders.
Oh my god. The Mac lineup.
Yeah, I would agree with for Cash, I think Adams has a pretty okay floor, and Emmanuel Sanders should get you something, whereas Curtis Samuel could easily get you nothing. So I think I'd go Adam Sanders for Cash, but for a tournament, probably Mac and Samuel.
I'd rather play Adam Sandler.
People love his new Netflix special.
I've heard good things. I'll never watch it.
I probably will at some point when I'm weak and bored,
and high. Doesn't seem like I'm going to get to that one stone sober.
Also a fair point. No good questions in the premium Slack right now. Is there anybody we haven't hit on? Let me look at the ownership. Anybody we didn't touch on who's projected to be highly owned? Oh, DJ Moore. What's your DJ Moore stance?
Let me get to it here. And let me also put my lineups in. DJ Moore. I am very heavy on DJ Moore right now, which I knew that I was. I just wanted to make sure that it hadn't changed. He's only 5,800 on FanDuel. There's not really anybody around him. Even though he is chalk, there's not really anybody around him that I see as comparable. So I'm willingly paying for DJ Moore. There's just not many options. Funchess is out, right? I'm not crazy.
Funchess is. Has he been ruled out officially yet? I assume he must have been, right? He's been doubtful all weekend, so I'm just presuming he's out. But I think Torrey Smith is in.
Yeah, I'm a big DJ Moore fan here. Smith in, Funchess out.
Okay. Oh, wait, Smith is out too?
Smith in, Funchess out.
Oh, Smith in, okay, got you. Okay. Yeah, no, I think that Moore so like I worry though, and I talked about this on the Contrary show and on the show too. I just worry in general about when a guy who's an important part of an offense leaves, or like, and Funchess is not like a super highly targeted guy, like let's say like Golden Tate in Detroit was, but I don't think like DJ Moore is necessarily ready to fill in and do the same things that Funchess does because that's just not his role and he's smaller. I think the matchup with the corners makes sense on Seattle's side, where they're just, they're big corners, a little bit smaller and faster. But it worries me a little bit. I have a lot of DJ Moore, but I feel like I was a little less enthusiastic than I probably would have been otherwise.
I get it.
It's scary. I feel like a guy who's coming off of a big game, who like, I don't know, who's like kind of small and has had some down. He had a chalk disappointment day already. Granted, while Funches was there, but I don't want that again. That wasn't fun.
Sorry, I'm uploading my lineups right now just to make sure that I have something in there that doesn't die in 9 minutes.
No problem. I'm actually getting the little bits of Trent Taylor have out, but for some reason it didn't just save the one that I had, because God forbid.
For some strange reason, I'm playing more today than I have all of the NFL season so far. So,
that's interesting. And you don't play like a crazy amount of NFL, right? Like you're a little more heavy on NBA on a daily basis.
For sure, yeah. Well, I mean kind of. I play a little bit less NBA than normal because I play it every day, whereas in NFL I'm only really jamming in once a week. So,
okay, that makes
sense.
It's
a little bit different in that regard. It shouldn't be, but it is. So
that's fair. Yeah, no, I'm playing a little. Actually, no, I'm playing about the same amount I always do. I just didn't do the quarter 20 max. I just didn't have enough time to get all those lineups in.
I like the way the slate broke down when I started crunching and looking at ownership and where everybody was coming up in my rankings. So we'll see. Go Lamar Jackson.
Sean V in the chat. Torrey Smith is such a shot in the dark. You're hoping for that one bomb pass. I think that Greg Olsen is a more logical pivot, but I think Torrey Smith hoping that I don't think he's more than one bomb pass. He's had a couple of short route touchdowns and some red zone targets as well. So I don't think that's accurate.
Big Greg about to make those hosts choke.
Oh, it's okay. I was like, are we talking about somebody in the chat? I'm like, oh, that's right. Greg Olsen and his rap video. He's a 37-year-old man now, but he did do that.
I love it.
Didn't age well. You guys streaming NBA today? I think Fast Eddie is going to be live today, I believe.
I don't know if that's confirmed yet, but someone will be.
Oh, okay. He said on Friday he was going to be, whatever.
Oh,
somebody's going to be live. Yeah, I think so.
Well, then he's in.
Because he said that we were going to do, he was not going to be on the show one day next week. I don't know which day.
Probably Tuesday.
So it'd be me and you?
Yep.
All right. I like doing shows with Eddie, but I like throwing it back.
Yeah, we'll have some fun Tuesday. It's probably a 3-game garbage slate, so we'll really get into some ridiculous nonsense. NBA schedule. Let's check it out.
Yeah, better than those 12 to 15 game slates.
It's a 5-gamer on Tuesday.
Oh, God, that was I wanted to kill myself on Friday. I'm working on Thanksgiving. I had to do the NBA article and write up a 13 or 12 game slate, and an NFL article writing up another 10 game slate. It's my nightmare doing work on a holiday week.
You gotta love it, man.
But it's fun. We're just having good times talking sports.
Whatever I have in is in. I'm ready for this. Feeling good.
Josh Adams or LaShawn McCoy? Who would you go with?
Which site? Because McCoy's priced really weird on DK, right?
Yeah, on DK, Josh Adams is 3,800. McCoy is 4,200.
Okay, so they're right next to each other on FanDuel, but I think they're way higher in the relative salary mark. Adams is projected for 3 times as much ownership on FanDuel. So in that regard, I have McCoy and I would go McCoy. As long as there's not any really crazy ownership stuff, I would much rather have McCoy there.
I prefer Adams, but I think the ownership reasons are valid. So I think Josh's take is the right take, but I personally prefer Adams.
Josh's take is always the right take.
I also think the McCoy take. I mean, the McCoy situation to me does feel a bit like a point chase, and I get he's always had the touches, so it's fine. But I just don't think the Jacksonville D is that bad, and he's coming off of the one big game. And I guess you could say that about Matt Breida too, but it feels a little not that there's a ton of ownership on them, but it feels a little point chasing me because I think he's just looked bad this year, and that offense is not doing it with him.
Sean V, you know that I don't point chase. I just take people that come up in my shit.
Yeah, Burke was totally logical that day. Even though he was chalky, his usage and his minutes were fine, but pivoting to Moutier was the right play, as our boy Fast Eddie pointed out. So kudos to Fast Eddie on that one. I say that with some regret, as Trey Burke murdered some lineups. But the tournament winner on DK had Trey Burke in his lineup, so
yeah,
no excuses.
Nope.
To throw in Sutton and thank me next Sunday. Okay, that's a take.
I have quite a bit of Sutton.
Oh, that's a take you agree with then.
Sure.
Sutton
is just like the thing that comes back for me.
Okay. I'm all right with it. Doesn't excite me. Sutton doesn't excite me, but the idea of him having one of those big weeks that people have been waiting for, I think this is a perfect matchup for it. I don't believe in Case Keenum at all.
I don't believe in anyone in this league.
I believe in Nick Mullins and Matt Breida.
Somebody's asking me in the YouTube chat how much Brady exposure do I have. I don't have any. So, 0.
That's fair. Who was I looking to? Oh, Lamar Jackson. Do you have any Lamar Jackson today?
A lot.
I too like Lamar Jackson. I don't know that I have a lot of him, but he's probably my third highest owned quarterback.
Yeah, I have a pretty decent amount of him.
Lamar Jackson or Mayfield? Who would you go with?
Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. Are you stacking him at all, or you're going naked Lamar?
If I get any lineups with, I'm not trying to stack him. So I might have a lineup or two that get John Brown or something like that popping up, but he is not. He is set up in my rules to like not require it.
Okay.
So if it gets there because that's the more optimal lineup, it's there. But I'm not. He's the only guy on the slate that I'm not actively trying to bring at least one wide receiver with.
Yeah, I like Lamar in the matchup, and the thing to me that stood out last week watching that game with the Bengals was that like John Brown was open and was able to get deeper and get more open, and they just didn't throw it. But I would hope this week is the showcase where like they can obviously beat up on the Raiders even more, and there's a little bit less risk because the Raiders don't pick off passes, don't really do anything well. So I hope that maybe there's a couple like John Brown bombs this week. So I do have some naked Lamar and some Lamar John Brown stacks. I fucking love John Brown. Just want him to be happy. He's fun. Any guy who puts up like 200 yards on 3 catches, I always love you. I'm intrigued by you every week.
Oh God, I hate those guys.
Deshaun Jackson. Somebody asked about Deshaun Jackson earlier. I do have some Deshaun Jackson today, but I think it's a good day to play him with the thumb injury too. I think also San Francisco very bad versus the deep pass, so I don't mind Deshaun, but I didn't go overboard on him today.
Yeah, I'm basically just like a half tick below the field on Evans and Jackson.
Yeah, our boy Emac in the chat. Emac just coming in everywhere. Hit that like button. We didn't really ask for that today because it's Sunday and we're sleepy and we just want to watch football and drink Coors Lights. But hit the like button. We do appreciate your likes. It's like tipping your bartender. It's a social norm in America. Somebody in Australia commented the other day in chat like, "Oh yeah, we don't do that here." Well, you know what? That's fair. But he gave us a like anyway because it's a community and we want support and support each other. Love and support. It's like a I don't know, Lifetime movie thing that we're going for here.
I wish we didn't tip our bartenders.
You know what? I like being a part of that system. I think bartenders appreciate it.
It depends what I'm ordering. If I order a bottle of beer, you don't deserve a tip.
Yeah.
If I get a cocktail, that's a completely different story.
I think it's $2 for a cocktail, $1 for a drink if you're at like a normal kind of crappy bar.
Yeah, that's just a preposterous way to do it. If you buy bars in LA or beers in LA are probably like $12 for a Coors Light or something. But if I buy like a $3 beer, like if I get like a Bud Heavy, I should not be giving you 33% additional on that beer for you to open it for me. It's probably even a twist off. You don't even have to do that. I'll go get it out of the cooler if you want.
That's fair. Look, I think the take is rational, but I like being a part of society and giving people tips. And that's just how it goes.
I like
also,
I feel like it's an Italian thing. There's no effort in that.
No,
it's not my fault they're the bartender. If I'm getting a nice cocktail and I'm out, yeah, I'll tip even more than that because you're doing something.
Hey, you've got support in the YouTube chat. I just think generosity begets generosity. That's my hope. But I've probably given away way too much in tips over the years. That like if I had to do the math on how much I've tipped and everything between delivery, like food deliveries and drinks and restaurants, that would actually horrify me. I'd be curious. I wish we had big data on our lives like that.
I am a large tipper. I don't want this to come out like I don't tip on those situations. I do. I just hate it because I want them to continue to give me beers as soon as I walk to the bar. So I tip for to basically cut the line.
Right. That's what. So yeah, Mark Smith in the YouTube chat saying, "Don't expect the bartender to look for you on your second beer." Then I think that's fair.
Right. My problem is that I drink too many beers. And that shit adds up when you're tipping 33% on a Bud Light or something stupid. Now, I don't normally get Bud Light.
Tipping pro tip too. If you ever go to an all-inclusive resort, you just grease them in the beginning, give them $20, and that'll take you through. Tip them once at the end, and you're good. You got in the hookup, and you really didn't tip that much pure per drink if you think about it.
Shout out to Percy Sandals, Jamaica. Hooked that brother up when we got there, and my man was just shouting me out from across the resort. I feel like he would have delivered me beers while I walked.
Yeah, they'll sometimes let you take beers up to the hotel room. You just got to be nice to them.
We had a butler, so.
Sandals has that. Yeah, I've been to one too. The Grand Rose Hall in Jamaica, which also has butlers. I think that's Iberostar. Iberostars have butlers in their fancier hotels. Which
it's not really worth it. It was kind of weird.
No, it's not. They did. I was dating a girl at the time, and they made a bath for us, but it was like scalding hot. It was really not pleasant.
Oh, we had no water pressure for the time that we were there. We got the butler for our honeymoon, so it's not just like we were like, oh, we should get a butler for today.
Oh no,
What's up,
this
Jeffrey?
was a normal vacation for me where we had the butler.
No,
but it was included in the hotel. It wasn't like extra added on fees for butlers.
I would never get it again.
Like that,
I would never get it again.
That's true. This is a fun one to go out on. Robbie Gatos in the YouTube chat. TIPS to ensure, spelled with an E, proper service. I think that's
Jesus, that is perfect, and we're locked. Let's get the hell out of here.
All right, we're locked. Everybody enjoy the slate. Make sure to use those promo codes CyberYear for 12 months on a. You're paying 10 months for a 12-month membership to our all-access annual pass. It's a great deal, the best deal we'll have for Cyber Monday and Black Friday. So use that promo code CyberYear on Osmo.com to get a year-long all-access pass for $120 savings, or promo code CyberMonth for 50% off of your first month of an all-access pass. Again, really the best deals we'll have. So go check them out. Go take them. They're only going to be available for one more day. They end tomorrow. So please take advantage of that. Take advantage of us and all of the insights and tools that we have. And any parting words, Josh, before you go drink some more Coors Lights and we go watch Nick Mullins throw for 5 touchdowns?
Tom says, I was at the same resort, Chris. My butler offered me the Bob Marley treatment the first night, and then I never saw him again.
My butler did not offer me marijuana in Jamaica. And I was scared because if you get busted with, like, it's weird because it's okay there. But if you get busted, it's still bad if you're an American. So
I asked about it. One of our bus drivers on our way to the falls, and he said, I'll probably get the amount wrong, but it was basically like, if you have less than an ounce, they'll probably just send you on your merry way. If you have more than an ounce, they're going to lock you in a Jamaican jail.
Not where you want to be. Some of those areas are not pleasant.
I was like, cool. So never buying an ounce.
See, important life lessons after lock here on this show. That's what we provide.
We walked down to the water for the first time, and they had like 2 boats that took people out for like just generic wooden boats. And some guy like whistled at me, and we were just walking. I was an easy 50 yards from him. I looked at him. I nodded. I walked over to him. I was like, I've got $25 cash in my pocket. What does that get me? He just handed me a bag. I handed him the money, and I walked away. It was fantastic. Worked perfectly.
A good not lock up abroad scenario, I think, there.
Yeah, it was great. I was super happy. You can only drink so many strawberry daiquiris and shit over 9 days before you just like, I just want to smoke a bowl and eat some jerk chicken.
Ooh, dirty bananas. That was my favorite Jamaican drink, where it's like a chocolate milkshake with like some other shit, but it's boozy as hell.
100 Red Stripe.
They do push the red stripe on you pretty hard.
Oh god, I could still feel the heartburn.
Well, on that note, let's go get some more heartburn watching this football. Thank you guys for tuning in on this holiday weekend. We appreciate each and every one of you. Throw us a like if you want, but whatever, at this point it's over. We appreciate you all though for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Good luck.
Adios.